Hi and welcome back to Koala's Chip In. I am Koala. Today's episode on my channel is going to be about the importance of knowing how to journey and how to guide others in shamanic journey. So it's shamanic journey that I'm going to talk a little bit about. I'm not going to go in too deep. I just want to emphasize the importance of knowing what you're doing, because I have met some people on my path, on my journey. So I have met people that have had some unfortunate experiences, and they come to me and ask what if what they went through was okay, or what was wrong with this or that experience that they had with journeying. So in all shamanic cultures or traditions, there is some form of shamanic journeying, which means that you journey through other dimensions or worlds, both inside of yourself and outside of yourself, with different intentions and purpose, and for different purposes. In the Nordic tradition, the main purpose of shamanic journeying, which is a form of Seder, is to heal, to help someone, or to heal yourself. So that's like the main purpose, and then you can go about this in many different ways. But before you come to that stage where you can actually go into journeying with that intent, you need to practice a lot, and you need to discover the different realms that there are. So when I speak today, I will speak with the Nordic template or map as a guide. But uh, what I'm saying and what I'm talking about applies to all kinds of journeying in all different traditions, because you gotta know what you're doing, uh, not just for yourself, but for the people that you help. So I want to start with just a short explanation of the different realms. So in the Nordic tradition, the three main realms are the lower worlds, the middle worlds, and the upper worlds. And then there are three of each, so there's 9 different realms that you can journey to, with the middle one being the other side of what it's the middle world is exactly what you see here and now, but behind the veils. That's how I see it. So, when you journey to that world, you can visit places that exist. You can still be in the place that you are, or you can go the to the middle world in the symbolic space. Like when I guide people through meditations at first, because I don't do shamanic journeying with people that haven't meditated or done anything else before, because it's not something that you should just go about without an intent, for example. And for me, the difference between a meditation and a journey is that with meditation, when I guide meditations, we usually stay in the middle world. It can be a beautiful landscape that isn't an immediate mirror of what you see here and now. It's got symbols, and it's got the tree of life, and it's got the rainbow, and bodies of water, and meadows, and your power plants and power animals and whatnot in that realm. But the main thing about meditating is to be present, to be here. And then if we invite something, maybe like a power animal, or we work with a plant or something, we meet them in the middle world, but we don't go any further. So we don't go upwards, or we don't go downwards. We don't go. I'm just figuring out my English here. So um that's kind of how I see meditation. That no matter if I stay here and now and just close my eyes and I'm still in this room, that's meditating. But I can also go into this colorful, beautiful, wonderful world because I'm good at visualizing. So with journeying, you go beyond that. You go deeper downwards or upwards or to the sides or to a bunch of places inside and outside of yourself. So uh, to go to another place that exists through meditation, that's not really possible because we are here and now. We can invite things, we can invite people or spirits or whatever. But to travel to another location, we need to journey. To travel into our deepest desires, we need to journey. To travel to the soul retrieval, we need to journey, you know. So that's the first thing. That's the difference between meditation and journeying when I practice it and when I teach it, the basics of it. And then the next thing I want to go talk a little bit about is um, the first thing you need to know when you're gonna do something like this. Like you do it for yourself first. That's where you start. You can't just be, oh, I found my drum, I'm gonna drum for other people, it's gonna be marvelous. No, you need to know where you're going. So you have to have like an inner map of wherever you are going so that you can guide people there. You have to know the landscape, you have to know the realms, you have to know you don't need to know every symbol there is in the universe. You don't need to know what a rose stands for that person, or what an elephant symbolizes in all different aspects. That's not what I'm talking about. But you need to make sure that you don't get lost. And it's important to meet your guides and your. So there are some different type of guides that you need to meet and uh, embrace before you can teach others or before you can guide others, because you have to help them find their guides as well. So you have to not only the first thing need to know your own landscape and your own inner worlds to do some healing work at all with yourself and with others. So journey for yourself first. That's what you gotta do, and this is where you can take help from someone that knows how to guide you, so that you don't get lost, and then that person can help you to ease into doing it for yourself. It can be hard to drum. If you use a drum, you can use different tools and different musical instruments to journey. If you use a drum, you need to know it can be hard to drum for yourself. So it can be a good thing to have someone else do it for you the first times, or have an audio track that is um, designed to help you journey. So there are some steps in journeying that I am very 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 rigid about when I journey for myself and with other people. It's the coming into it, like coming into the meditative state and going into a trance is it called, yeah, trance state, trance. And then being in the journey and going where you need to go and keep hold of your intention, and then there's something I call the landing. That's when if you're like way over there, you need to come back to the middle to where you started, and you need to do that in a way so that you don't get lost, or always take the route back that you took there. So if you did like this, then you need to do like this. And then after you landed, then you can ground yourself and come back to the here and now. So some simple steps, but really, really important not to skip any of them. Um, those are the basics. And then you also need to know that different people experience in different ways. So we have some senses that we use when we experience things in this world, in the ordinary reality. We use our sight, to see and watch things. We use our ears to hear things. We use our mouth to taste things and our nose to smell things, etc. And we can use our fingers and our bodies to feel things. And we can use our hearts to feel things, to feel emotions and to feel empathy. And all of these senses we take with us into journeying. So when we journey, we can use these senses as well, but it takes practice. And some people are blind when they go into journeying for the first few times, and or maybe they can just like experience light shifting or specks of colors or something like that, and everything, no matter how you experience it, it has a meaning and symbolic meaning for you. So you don't have to experience all of the journey in clear color like you're watching a movie. It's very personal, and if you feel like, oh, I'm when I close my eyes or when I try to meditate or anything like that, it's just black, there's nothing, maybe a bit of light or a bit of, yeah, sometimes maybe a speck of something, that's okay. You still have your hearing. So when we guide people through meditations and journeys, we use I use my voice and I use my drum or my rattle or something else to guide. And for some people, it can be hard to listen to a voice guiding you because the hearing is the strongest sense of experiencing the other realm. So for those people, it can be better to just go about it in a different way so that their hearing sense can be open and the only thing consistent is the drumming or the rattle. So it's a different kind of guiding, and if you don't know how to guide people that need to use their hearing a lot during the journey, and if you can't help them to come back to the here and now, so that channel is uh I don't want to say control, but I want to say not as open. We never close anything when we come back to the here and now, but we come back to the here and now, so that whatever sounds you're hearing are the sounds of the real world and not the other realms. And if you are a person that needs to use your hearing to experience the other realms, then it's very important to have someone that can guide you back to the here and now and make it, so that you really step out of the other realms into the ordinary reality in a healthy way. And that goes for all senses, sights as well. People that are very visual can needs help with that as well. So grounding is a really, really important thing, no matter how you journey. And how you journey can be different depending on which sense are the greatest for you or like the best. So for me, my emotional sense and my I all my senses are good, okay, by now, because I've done a lot of practice. But I remember in the beginning there were a lot of I've always had a clear visual sense. So when I guide and when I journey and meditate and everything, it's very easy for me to just close my eyes and see something else. um and if I read a book, I see the story unfold itself before my eyes as I'm reading it. And when I dream, I have clear dreams, and it's very, very colorful and very, clear, like that. I also have a very good hearing sense. Um, I hear everything when I journey, and I hear everything in my dreams. And if I don't ground myself enough, my hearing is so open that all noises around me just do this to my brain. So I really need to ground myself after journeying so that I can just, because my senses are like on alert otherwise, and that's very normal for a lot of people when we have a lot up here, because if we have a lot up here, our third eye can be overstimulated, and that's when that happens. We need to ground the energy and come back to the here and now. And this can be outside of journeying as well. This can be just after dreaming, or if we have a stressful period in our life, that when the energies rises from the ground, and we are not really yeah, we're not really grounded in our present. So then we have our so the main, I would say that the main three senses for journeying is the emotions. Like if we journey with an intent to heal, we can feel the healing taking place very, very clear. We can feel it in our hearts, or if we journey to heal a body part, or everything that we heal is both on a soul level, a mind level, and a body level. So when it manifests, and if it manifests rapidly when we are in the journey, we can feel it in our body, and we can feel it with our emotions. And if it's a past life regression kind of thing, and we meet ourselves, or we hold ourselves, or we experience um, grief once again, or love or joy once again, we can be like we're crying. So that's a way to experience journeying, and it's not something that we should just dismiss as lesser than, because I have people that I've guided that only experience the emotional side of it. They don't see anything, they don't hear anything, but the emotions are so strong. And they too need to be grounded into the here and now, while still processing all of those emotions, you know. So those are like the things, like those are the basic things. And then we have protection, right? So when I talk protections, I don't mean it's hard to talk about protection in journeying and the other type of shamanic situations without people maybe feel a bit of fear. Like protection from what? Most of all, it's protection from bringing stuff up to the conscious level that we are not ready to process yet. So when we are working through a trauma, maybe, or reparenting, or something that is very emotional, we when in the healing with the intention to heal something, then it's very important that we do it step by step, and we leave we leave everything where it rests, you know. So in the Nordic tradition, we have three lower worlds. That is our unconscious, and it's our that's where our anxiety, fear, our trauma bonds, and where when our soul shatters in relation to trauma, that's where the pieces can be found again. And it's very, very important to not just dive into the darkness and grab a hold of every light you can see and then bring them back and be like, oh, I'm healed. No, because everything that you're holding with your intention afterwards needs to be integrated. And if you don't integrate it in a healthy way, then you can bring back stuff that you're not ready for, and it can mess with your mind, it can mess with your heart, it can mess with your awareness and your conscious, and it can push people that are on the brink of going insane to actually step over that line, and need some, you know, and they really need help. So when and that's usually what happens when people do journeys with like with like plant aids. I'm not gonna talk about specifically where or when or how, but when people use like different plants to help them journey, uh, and feel really awful afterwards, and maybe even a bit crazy, it's most often because they dove too deep. No one was there to bring them back, to ground them, and no one was there to help them, you know, pick the pieces to bring back and what to leave behind and how to do that. So which results in a person that is very shattered and very can feel very, very awful and it can trigger a lot of mental illness and mental health aspects that we don't want. So that's when we talk protection, it's mostly that, because everything that we experience as being outside of ourselves is in fact inside of ourselves. Like the D word, if you don't know what that is, so I can maybe write it in a comment. But so like dark shadows and entities and all of that stuff that we have them inside of us, and we can deal with them in a healthy manner if it's done in a good way. And if we just bring it all up to the surface right away, that's when you can experience it in a negative way and maybe not come back from that, because it's way harder to put everything back and not deal with it than it is, because when it's surfaced. It's like picking hole on ice, and it's just overflowing. So both in a symbolic sense, as well as the, like, it's a, yeah, because one of the lower worlds are a world of ice, where that contains our fears and our phobias. So uh imagine picking a hole on that ice, and it just flows up like water from under the ice, and it just takes over your heart and mind. And no one wants that. All right. So that's why it's important to know what you're doing for yourself and for others, and to take it step by step, so that no one is in a worse way when they get out of it than in than they were before. And then there's also the aspect of taking care of things when we are back. So when the journey is over and we have come back and we are grounded, uh, make sure that the person that guides you aren't just there for that and then like, bye, have a nice time with all of the things that we brought to the surface. You need to have someone that is open for you to come back to them, and maybe do some that help you through the process. Because if we say you have a trauma from your early childhood, or maybe even a past life, and then you bring that to surface, you need to process it, right? You need to process, because you worked on it on a spiritual and a soul level, and then you need to process it here so it can manifest in the physical world and in the physical body. So you might need help with that. Maybe it will go perfectly fine. Maybe it was just, all because sometimes when we do healing work, it's like when we finally do it, everything just falls into place. But that's not what happens all of the time. Sometimes you need to process it. You will meet new, like, challenges to help you integrate, and you might need someone to at least be some kind of a sounding board during that period, and maybe even help you further along and do some more inner child work or inner healing work, and maybe even some more journeying to help with that. And often there's not just one thing we need to work on. There's like steps of things, or a lot of things that are interconnected, and then you need to maybe go back for a second session or a third session of, for example, soul retrieval, to really do all of the work. And you might need to work on releasing emotions and releasing grief in a healthy way, so that you don't go around and be this angry individual that takes your energy out on everyone and everything. You might need help to do that, and to ground that energy, and to manifest it in a positive way. So I did go deeper into this than I was meant to, but then I meant to at the beginning of this recording. But it's something I'm so passionate about, that you know what you're doing for yourself and for others. So know how to journey, know how to ground yourself, and know how to hold space for people. So if you are if you are looking to be someone that helps other people through journeying and through meditations and that sort of thing, make sure that you have the tools and the equipment and the everything you need emotionally, mentally, physically to hold space for people to do that, and make sure to know when to say no, because we don't, as healers, we don't need to say yes to everything single thing that comes before us. It's not like the universe all send us people and situations that we need to deal with. Sometimes we need to say no. We need to see that, okay, this is outside of my expertise. This is outside of the realm of what I am working with or what I want to work with. Or maybe you're just in a state of, you have a lot on your plate as it is. Maybe you on a personal level and you're like, no, this is not the right time for me. I can't hold space for this person while I'm going through this myself, and that's perfectly fine. uh Being a healer and being someone that helps people and holds space for people also means sometimes being the person to say no. There have been several times in my journey on this path in life where I have had to say no to people. And sometimes I didn't know it at the first session, and then after second, maybe then I realized that, oh, okay, this is way over my head. I need to help this person by directing it in another by directing the person in another direction to someone else, or to maybe even uh like psychiatric care, because sometimes there are people. We need to know our limits. We need to know when to say no and when to, when we can actually hold space for them and when they are on a healing path and not just a path that will bring them even deeper down. We need to know our, yeah, it's it's hard to explain some of it, and it's also so broad that I can talk for days and give different examples. But the main thing is, know how to journey yourself before you guide others. Know how to protect yourself and how to protect others, and help. If you're gonna help other people, help them to discover the world before you do anything else, or work with people that have some experience in doing so. And at the same time, if you know, if you trust yourself, don't distrust yourself too much. Know the difference between I can help this person, I can do this, and this is over my head. And if you decide that, yeah, I can help this person, then trust. Just put your trust in yourself and trust in the universe and trust everything to align, and follow the flow of your intuition and the flow of the universe. And if somewhere along the line there's a no, you know, then it's okay. It's okay to back up and be like, okay, I've helped you so far. I helped you this far, and this is where my limit. This is my limit. I can't do this anymore. I need to direct you to somewhere else, and that's perfectly fine. Because it's better that you say no than that you try to help someone that is either not ready to be helped, because a lot of people only want us to affirm them, and so that they can be in their bubble and not have to deal with stuff. And you can't help a person if they're not ready to heal. So it can be that, or it can be a person that are on that brink that I was talking about, and as soon as you help them open up, they are way past it, and you are there trying to help someone out of the water that doesn't even have a life jacket on, so because they're drowning in their own inner self. That can happen. So uh, it's okay to say no in the beginning. It's okay to say no halfway. It's not okay to say no in the middle of a journey, okay? You can't just be like, oh yeah, I'm gonna go do dum, 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 or send, and then like in the middle of it be like, oh no, 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 no. Well, you can, but if you do that, you need to help them come back to the here and now in a good way, so so that they can be grounded and all of the things I talked about before about not taking things to the surface with them that they're not ready for. So uh, it's okay to say no in the beginning. That's the easiest part. It's okay to say no in the middle of helping someone, but don't just leave them. Make sure that they have a plan or someone to go to, even if you decide that they need psychiatric care, or maybe they need to take a bit of rest from shamanic practices or whatever. But make sure that they have a plan and that you like direct them in that direction, and so that you don't have to take on something that you're not ready for yourself. So, and if you decide in the middle of a journey like this is not where this is not going as it should, then bring the person back immediately, ground them, talk about it, hold space to talk about the experience, and be honest with yourself and with the person and say exactly what you felt. Like, this was way over my head. We experienced something that I wasn't really ready to guide you through, so I brought you back beforehand. And then and then talk about what you're gonna do after. And if you feel like maybe you feel like I need to do some journeying into this myself to see how I can help you further. Or if you feel like, no, this is not something I want to do, if you want to explore this, you need to do it with someone else. Then hopefully you have someone to direct them to that they can do that with, so that you don't just leave them where they are. But if you don't, be honest about that as well. So yeah, knowing what to do, how to do it, and being honest, and to trust. Those are the most important things, I would say. So this was a longer video than I intended it to be, but I hope that some of what I talked about has maybe helped someone. And yeah, so until next time, have a lovely, lovely time journeying with yourself or with a person guiding you, and walk in beauty. And as I always end my videos, Xingling.